girls shouldn't play football. I won't be the only one in saying that that stereotype was directed at a lot of younger girls when they were growing up, and it's obviously not something that you want to hear, but it makes you feel a little bit hungrier to prove people wrong. And I think I'm the generation that did play with boys and really tried to pave the way and wanted to create opportunities for younger girls. And fortunately, the way that everything's changed now, you were almost always like the odd one out being a female footballer. It probably wasn't until I was maybe like 15 that I started to actually understand that the national team existed, and then you've seen the likes of Gemma Fay, who obviously played in my position for a long time, and the amount of caps that she was able to get. She was a true leader for the country, and then the likes of Julie Fleeton as well. Got such a good scoring record for games for national team, and for us as footballers, particularly in Scotland, we've obviously been trying to fight to try and get women's football visually there, and I think everything about empowering women and girls across all sports particularly is really important, and especially at this club it's something that we demand.
International Women's Day is one of those moments that we stop and reflect on the progress that's been made, but also gives us time to look ahead at the things that we still want to achieve. So it's a really important mark in the calendar that we certainly want to celebrate at the SWPL. You only have to look at our league table. We have got such an incredible title race at the top. We're into this sort of new, increasingly professional era of women's football, and what we're seeing coming to fruition around the top of our table is incredible. Just really competitive, genuine athletes striving to be the best in the country, and what's not to love about that?
I wasn't very good at it in terms of that being a career, not that it was really seen as much of an option back then to be a professional footballer, but I went for the next best thing, which was talking about it. A reason to shout about the fact that there are no barriers anymore, that women can be successful, that they can be strong, that they can go into roles that were perhaps previously seen as male roles. They can be leaders, they can be influencers. I just think it's really important to remind young girls and to remind women out there that we have every possibility available to us now, and that we can reach and go for our dreams.
My name's Nikki Reid, I'm the Chief Executive of the SPFL Trust. I've been here for about 12 years and I've worked in football for around about 20 years, frighteningly. We do some wonderful community work with community trusts at SPFL clubs up and down the country, and there are a whole host of amazing women who just quietly go about their business, but their business is improving lives for people in their communities, and we might never hear of them or you might never see their story, but they are the people that when we go out for visits, they are the teachers, they're the volunteers, they're the coaches, they are people who go the extra mile, and actually thinking about that by way of kind of accelerating action. And actually I should say a lot of those women are the ones who are accelerating action, because they're the ones who are taking the reins in their local communities and making change, and that's hugely inspiring.
I think I can reflect back in my own career, and probably back then there wasn't the same visibility, so I think it's really important for young girls and young boys to see that females can be part, not just as athletes, but be involved in sport. All of these females are leading the way, and I think it's brilliant for young kids to see that, not just young girls but young boys as well. When I was growing up, probably the only role that you could get in sport was to be a PE teacher, so thankfully now that's changed.
I think the opportunities in women's football are limitless. When you look at the progress we've made in the last 5 to 10 years, it really has been exponential growth, but when you look at all the studies and information that's out there, it tells us that that's not going to stop.
So perhaps from a kind of trust perspective, I think what we're seeing is we're seeing an increased number of women and girls taking part in our programmes.
It's testament to how passionate people are for the women's game, and the girls that are playing the game are for doing what they love, and I just hope it continues to grow, and I don't see any reason why it shouldn't.
I think it's only going to continue to accelerate. You're starting to see bigger crowds now in Scotland, down in England. It's huge, and we want to keep that snowball effect, just keep it growing.
It's evolved massively, and there's still a long way to go, but I think so far in looking at Scotland, I think it's been fantastic that we've got teams that are professional and you can get a career out of it. So I think there's still scope to evolve even further, and I think that will happen.